why is nothing stopping this? Well, basically, Republicans in the US have a supermajority in Congress. Well, not a supermajority, but like a majority in both houses of Congress. So Congress isn't doing anything. Democratic leadership is full of cowards. And so they aren't using their singular points of leverage to do anything about this. Um, the courts are doing stuff about this, but they are not designed to stop a fascist administrative coup from the executive branch. So at best, they are slowing things down. And that leaves the fourth estate. It leaves the people. And people, by and large, I think can beat this. We can win. It's just that it requires mass mobilization. And what we're seeing right now is just like a bunch of people coming together haphazardly and building up these local grassroots mechanisms. And like that does take time. And within the course of like 2 months, we've accomplished a lot. And I think what needs to happen now is that mobilization needs to snowball. And if we don't see that snowball, um, what's gonna happen is that we're gonna need to wait for kind of a catalyst. We're gonna keep doing the best we can, obviously, but like when I say a catalyst, like if Republicans get these tax cuts through, or if anxiety around those tax cuts wakes a bunch of people up to the fact that Republicans are trying to steal their futures from them and ultimately kill them, that could be a mass mobilization event, right? And I think there are a lot of people who don't pay attention to politics, and they just aren't tuned in. They don't watch political content. They don't read newspapers. They watch Marvel movies, they grill, and then they watch the game. Like that's what they do. Right? And in order to puncture through that, in order to puncture through that apathy, people need like something that wakes them up. They need that catalyst. And for a lot of people, it's pain, you know? Um, and what I'm really worried about is that not enough pain is going to hit, and people aren't going to be mobilizing en masse until after Republicans get their tax cuts. That can has been kicked down the road until September. So September is when the big budget vote and the big budget showdown is going to happen. And I'm worried that if we have not mobilized enough people by then those cuts are going to go through. And if those cuts go through, it's not an exaggeration to say millions of people are going to die. And so I keep coming back to that. And yes, Lovely Pariah, there is a 50-51 event on April 5th. And we'll see kind of where we're at there, right? But like even the 50-51 protests have not approached the size of the for example, like that pussy hat protest that happened during Trump's first term. And we need mass mobilization on that level, you know? And I think we will get there, but it's taking a bit to rev that up. Now, to be fair, the other day, we covered growing dissatisfaction among Republicans in Eastern Washington. And so my hope here is kind of being derived from where Republicans are at, or rather people in dominantly Republican districts are at. Okay? A really good example of this is actually this, we'll make this into a segment. So, folks, one of the things I'm really hopeful about here is essentially where people are at regarding their Republican elected representatives in Congress. Because what's happening right now is that Congress is in recess, and Republicans, Democrats, Senate, House are going back to their districts, and they are appearing in front of their constituents in town halls, right? And one of the things I've been fascinated by are these elected officials in prominently Republican areas who are getting shellacked at these town halls. This happened last time Congress was in recess as well, but now we're seeing it to a greater degree. For an example here, let's take a look at this event that was held a couple days ago in Laramie, Wyoming. And I can tell you, as someone who has worked with the Democratic Party to organize events, the Democratic Party is not putting money into Laramie, Wyoming to get people to counter protest at the town hall. Okay? That is not happening. Okay? That is not happening. Also, Super Jet Guy, I'm aware. I know how protests work. I know protests don't all have to be grand or huge or colossal. I understand. The point I'm trying to make is we're talking about trying to check the power of the president. When we're talking about checking the power of the president, we are talking about protests of that size. When we are talking about the people of America being the last line of defense between us and fascism, we are talking about that kind of mobilization. We're talking about a showdown with the goddamn federal government of the United States of America. So I understand the importance of small protests. I really do. And that's why we've been talking about these town halls, right? That's why we've been talking about the Tesla takedown protests. That's why I've been talking about, small actions leading to a greater whole when enough of those small actions are made, right? That's why I've been talking about it. But also understand, our small protests need to become that big protest. Indivisible is also growing. So let's take a look at this.
It's so bizarre to me how obsessed you are with federal government. But here's the thing. You guys are going to have a heart attack if you don't calm down. I'm sorry. Your hysteria is just really over the top. It's so.
She's talking to constituents in a deeply red district in Wyoming. And folks, believe it or not, early on in stream, a hero in chat managed to find the full video of the stream of this event. And I want to tell you guys, this chatter was able to find the full video of this. I had spent about an hour looking for it prior to stream. Couldn't find it. This chatter found it on a YouTube channel with 2 subscribers and 114 views. I have no idea how they managed it. Literally, after this was shared in chat, someone Googled the name of the YouTube channel on YouTube and couldn't find it. So, let's take a look. local government, local events, the university, fight me. Oh man, this audio is very fucked. Can you guys, if you guys can handle this audio, I do want to watch all of this, and I will watch it whether or not you guys want to do it on stream, but like this energy is palpable.
Wow, what an incredible turnout. It's very exciting to be back in Laramie, Wyoming, where I went to school. What I would like you to do is I see a lot of signs around, and I understand what you're trying to say. I get it. I can read them. But I would really like you to please put them down on the floor so that the people behind you can see. I think that that's the least we can do to be respectful to our fellow citizens. So if you would do that for me, that would be great.
Booze. Amazing stuff.
So it's so wonderful to be back here, as I indicated. This is my 74th town hall in the last 3 years.
You did.
And I'm in Wyoming. I do a town hall in every county in the state every single year. Now, I go to a lot of other meetings and a lot of other opportunities to visit with our businesses and things. But I really like the opportunity to do town halls because it lets me come here, give you an update on what I'm doing back in Washington, D.C., and then I'm going to give you an opportunity to ask me.
Oh man, people are angry. They are angry. My God. Holy moly. Nothing. This is great. I need this energy. I think we all need this.
Questions. Before we get there, however, I get it that there are people here who dislike me. There are also people here who want to hear what I have to say. And if you have so little respect for our process and for our you to leave. I'd also ask one other thing. I've heard several of you say horrible words out there already. There are children present in this room, and I would request that you please show some respect for the office and for your fellow citizens. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to talk about—
How dare you all be uncouth? I'm only trying to kill some of you.
What we've done back in Congress, the first law of the 119th Congress that was signed.
Think of the children I want to strip Snap from. They're here right now.
By President Trump was called the Laken Riley Act. It is a product of the Judiciary Committee, of which I am a member. And what it does is it mandates detention for illegal aliens arrested for theft, assault of a police officer, and other crimes resulting in death and serious injuries. As many of you probably recognize, this was named after that beautiful young nursing student in Georgia who was so brutally attacked by an illegal alien. On February 25th, I voted in favor of the House budget resolution. Okay, so here's what we're going to do for the people in here who are incapable of controlling yourselves. I'm going to give you 30 seconds to just scream it out of your system. Come on, go ahead, do it. What, you don't want to scream now? You're not capable of screaming now that I've invited you to do it?
Oh man, we're 3 minutes into an hour-long town hall. She's already like, what? You're not gonna scream at me now? So the budget resolution that we voted on February 25th, that
actually instructs Congress to enact at least $1.5 trillion in mandatory savings. It provides up to $300 billion for border security. It prevents $4.5 trillion in tax hikes, and it exceeds the debt limit by $4 trillion. It does not make any funding cuts. It does not create any new funding or change policy. And it is a blueprint for our budget reconciliation process. On March 11th, I voted in favor of the continuing resolution, or CR, which extends funding this year until September 30th. It keeps the lights on for President Trump and Joe.
Man, I love this lady standing up and clapping so enthusiastically for someone who is without hesitation going to vote to end her social security check. You know, like we got a continuing resolution with no guardrails on Doge. Doge is trying to dismantle the Social Security Administration, but like, sure, they've closed 60% of the Social Security Administration offices and ended phone support. But yeah, you clap for that lady. Go for it.
The Democrats' efforts to create a fiscal year 25 omnibus by freezing spending in an inflationary environment.
I love that there's just like a contingent of people here that are dedicated to screaming "fuck you."
It also rescinds $30 billion in agency slush funds. It provides $485 million for alien detention and removal. Enlisted men and women. In terms of what I have specifically been doing, I am on the Judiciary Committee and the Natural Resources Committee. With Judiciary, I'm on the subcommittees on the administrative state, regulatory reform, and
What are they chanting? It sounds like "fuck you" something.
Antitrust, and I'm also on the subcommittee on Constitution and Limited Government. Resources Committee, I am the chair of Water, Wildlife, and Fisheries, and I'm also on the subcommittee on Energy and Mineral Resources, both of which are very important to Wyoming and the industries that we have here. I have also been selected as the
honestly, the energy this is giving is like they are 2 weeks away from actually showing up with tomatoes to pelt her with. You know, like the energy that is happening here in, again, Wyoming is insane.
RSC's Article 1 task force, and our mission is to reclaim Congress's legislative authority in the wake of the overturning of the Chevron decision. Our agenda is to reform scaling the size and power of the administrative agencies and to professionalize the institution of Congress. In the 119th Congress, I have introduced 23 bills, and I've co-sponsored 94 bills.
Like, one of the reasons I wanted to highlight this is that this is taking place in Laramie, Wyoming. This is not like, oh, kind of a purple district. Just out of curiosity here, yeah, Trump won Laramie County by how many points? Yeah, the amount of votes in Laramie County that he got was more than 2-1 compared to Kamala Harris. That's crazy. I guess this is technically in Albany County, but like it's covered by Laramie News, so I'm a bit confused. Whatever.
6 bills that passed the House, and also one bill, the Lake and Riley Act, has become law, as I mentioned a moment ago. I also continue to champion legislation that is specific to Wyoming, including my bill to delist the grizzly bear. And Rock Springs RFPs. In terms of administrative reform, again, I've been advocating for a legislative agenda to accomplish the goals of the Article 1 Task Force. One of the things that I've done is introduce a bill called the Regulatory Cooling Off Period. What that does is it slows the rulemaking process to increase participation and awareness of the citizens so that they can participate. I've also introduced what's called the 7th Amendment Restoration Act. What's happened over the years is that the variety of federal agencies have created what are called administrative law courts or administrative law judges. The SEC is one, the Securities and Exchange Commission is one that uses this tactic quite a bit. And what they do is that if they were to bring an enforcement action against one of the individuals in this room, they try to bring it in front of an ALJ. And oddly enough, they win their cases about 92% of the time in front of ALJs because they're all wearing the same jersey. Whereas what my bill allows is that if an agency brings an enforcement action against you, you can remove it to an Article 3.
I ever heard.
Fanry, thank you for the $5 dono. I understand that the audio is really bad here, guys, but like, I'm honestly just thrilled at how angry this crowd is. You know? Yeah, Trump won Wyoming by 46 points. And like, granted, this is, I guess, in Albany County, but where it was a bit closer, like 50 to 47. But like, this is wild. You can actually compare her previous town hall because she's done a bunch of them this week. It's nothing remotely like this.
Court as required by the Constitution and request a jury trial. One other thing that I've been working on, and if you've been reading the Cowboy State Daily, I think that what you will have heard about is the work on the dealing with the Postal Service and making sure that we are able to retain adequate and reliable postal service right here in Wyoming. So the plan of action was actually
I'm a Republican, but I don't support gutting the Postal Service. Bullshit. Bullshit. Bullshit.
To remove all processing and distribution centers from the state of Wyoming, which would have forced all of our mail to be processed out of state. In one instance, we were able to show that a letter being mailed in western Wyoming to eastern Wyoming would have had to go through 4 states. So we're trying to protect our postal service right here in Wyoming, and we've made some real progress in that regard. About 2 weeks ago, the Postal Service announced that they are going to be keeping their processing center in Casper and Cheyenne, and they're going to be investing millions of dollars into both of those facilities. So I'm very excited about what we've been able to accomplish.
Yeah, like, I don't know. It seems most of the people in this crowd are pretty goddamn angry, because the only people who are, like, doing this standing up, I mean, granted, there are a couple rows here of people clapping, but, like, I don't know, guys. I think they're kind of cooked. People are getting angry.
A couple of other things that I've been working on. As you know, the BLM has been working on both the Rock Springs RMP and the Buffalo RMP. Both of those are very destructive to the future of Wyoming. So we have been working to introduce bills so that legislatively we can modify both of those. What I was very pleased about is recently the Secretary of Interior has withdrawn both of those RMPs and will hopefully be making some very important changes to them.
Right, Gamer G? Like, this feels like we're only just just a couple more steps and people are going to be bringing tomatoes to these things.
Casework. What I do back in Congress is one thing in terms of the legislative process that we follow, introducing bills, the committee work that I've been involved with, working with other legislators, writing letters, doing oversight of the agencies and that sort of thing. But another very important aspect of what we do is our casework. And that's done primarily right here in Wyoming. So far, since I've been in Congress a little over 2 years,
I do wonder if she's going to take any questions. I do wonder if she's going to take questions at the end of this.
We have opened 3,200 cases. We have resolved 3,032 cases. So I'm very pleased at the number that we've been able to resolve. And so far, we have been able to return 2 individuals in Wyoming, not agencies, not governments, but we have been able to return money to constituents, citizens right here in Wyoming, $5,454,559. Those are cases involving the DA, the IRS, the Social Security Administration, ATF, that sort of thing. So I'm very pleased that we have been able to put money back in the pockets of individuals right here, money that was wrongfully being withheld by a variety of federal agencies. What are you doing? That's a big summary. Some of the work that we've been doing. As I said earlier, I'm sure happy to take some questions.
Oh, famous last words, lady. Yeah, I bet this lady's about to get 100% on Rotten Tomatoes, if you know what I'm saying.
We've got some questions here in the audience. I believe right over here in the blue shirt. Yes.
I don't know if you can see me very well back in the shadows here, but I served with you in Congress from the state of Colorado. I'm moving to Wyoming because I have family here, and I'm really looking forward to making Wyoming my new home. But
I genuinely don't know why there's like a lo-fi music playing behind all of this. It's very bizarre, but you know, I'm not mad at it, I guess, but I'm wondering why, and also why. This is such a fever dream. It really is. It really, really is.
I want to tell the people here, because I served with you for the last 2 years before I retired, that you have an amazing reputation.
Man, I want to hear what he's saying.
Amazing reputation. I want to tell the people here, because I served with you for the last 2 years before I retired, that you have an amazing reputation.
Oh, okay. So this guy was like, I served with you for 2 years, and you have an amazing reputation. Man, you know it's bad when someone stood up first to glaze her. Like, you know, that's rough. That's rough. You know how bad things are here.
Would you please show some respect for your fellow citizens? Is this how you conduct yourselves?
Conveniently, every person she calls on just tells her how great she is.
Thank you.
You're insulted by intelligence. They come here for your campaign.
Thank you, Doug. I don't think that they're going to show the same respect that they should.
Oh, yeah. You're insulting us.
They're like 5 seconds away from going full soccer hooligan. And honestly, I'm here for this energy. I'm here for this energy.
Right over here.
Oh, yeah. Pick them all up front. We get a microphone.
Yeah, get a microphone. We can't hear either. Good night, Alan Smith. Yes, that was a very good point that we heard exactly 0 of.
So the question was about Social Security, and what she's accusing me of is standing by while it is being dismantled by those. 100% untrue. Absolutely 100% not dismantling Social Security. If you want reconciliation, we are not allowed to touch Social Security. So
And yet 60% of the field offices have been closed.
request that you actually watch some accurate TV.
I suggest this lady shut the fuck up and pay attention to what's happening with the Social Security Administration. Kind of weird that you can't call tech support now, isn't it? Kind of weird that you can't just call up the Social Security Administration and get your business done over the phone for no reason. Shit's gonna really hit the fan when the Social Security checks stop. Honestly, I think when that happens, people are gonna go to war. Like, quite almost literally.
In terms of Social Security, President Trump has repeatedly stated that he is not cutting Social Security.
He's a fucking liar.
Reconciliation, it is not part of the CR, it is not part of the budget resolution, that is untrue. Right over here.
You know, I can't help but remember some really prophetic words.
People are aroused. I haven't seen people so aroused in a very, very long time.
It's true. I haven't. Too many people in this room are aroused.
I'd like to thank you very much for showing up. I think it's very important that our elected members of Congress are here and they show for their people. I have a lot of concerns. Since January 23rd, I've been scared. I have worked in government. I'm making this stuff fast. I was selected by the Department of Defense to do my PhD at Uniformed Services University. I received a dean scholarship. After that, I was assigned to technology college develop. I worked with the question. I worked with our federal government. Every single day, we get unsigned emails from supposedly OPM. I want to ask you, when you go to Target, are you scared? Are you getting those emails? Do you?
Honestly, number one, you can tell how angry that woman is by the fact that we can hear her. And number two, that probably accounts for why so many people are out at these Republican events, because they're federal workers who got laid off. And there are tons of federal workers across America in Republican districts, predominantly Republican districts. So, yeah, it's not. I'm actually not surprised.
Yes, I know what Doge is doing, and no, I'm not scared.
You know, she's standing in a very tomatoable spot right here. Some bold words for a very tomatoable lady. Hands off cancer?
She asked me if I was scared and if I knew what Doge was doing, and I said no to both. I answered.
She asked me if I was scared, and I said no. She asked me if I knew what Doge was doing, and I also said no. Oh, okay. So you don't know enough to know whether or not you should be scared. Okay. Oh, they were saying and sir. Okay, that makes sense. Hey, Krista Star.
How do we not have enough mics?
Don't have a mic.
You know, the decision to not have a microphone was probably intentional, given the fact that she only wants to take questions from people in the front.
And there's only like 8 questions.
My one regret about this is that I wish we could hear more of the jeering.
Without you know the question, if you're paraphrasing.
Microphone!
I was just asked what.
Sepsin writing in Twitch chat. Unfortunately, nobody in Wyoming had an audio recording device made before 1920. Yeah, they're all operating on phonograph technology. Don't hold it against them, folks.
What was going to happen to Grand Teton and Yellowstone National Parks. And just so that you know,
there's like video game or EDM music in the back, and like I'm not mad at it. It's just bizarre.
We've already checked with the Department of Interior, which is those parks are within the DOI. The seasonal, they are already in the process of hiring 5,000 seasonal employees. So they are already in terms.
Because you caught them all is like, I think we're kind of getting at the heart of why so many incredibly angry people here are here. You know, like federal workers are pissed the fuck off. Yeah, they're in the process of hiring scabs. Yeah. Yeah.
basically accepted the buyout, if you will. That's a fairly insignificant number, but they already are hiring as many as 5,000 employees. The National Park Service will be fully staffed.
Yeah, my understanding is that the people of Wyoming really like their national parks, and it's a big deal in Wyoming. You know, like in a normal year, NPS hires 6,000 to 7,000 seasonals along with permanent. They aren't really scabs. But didn't they fire like hundreds, if not thousands, of park workers? My understanding is that they like gutted the park service.
For the upcoming season, I don't have any doubt that the demand. One thing that to keep in mind that under previous administrations, the Park Service, U.S. Forest Service, they have billions of dollars in backlog. That was never taken care of by the Biden administration.
Next question, Jeff, where are you? Right
Yeah. I just want to thank each and every one of y'all for all you do to your bodies. It's still real to me, damn it. I mean, thank you. Thank you, guys. You're awesome.
The question was about the continuing resolution, and he's asked about where is.
Hey, good news, everyone. This is from earlier today. 1,000 park workers who were fired in Doge cuts are reinstated. So that's good. That's from earlier today. You know, I didn't know that. Hell yeah.
The money for all of the individuals that have been fired. It still remains in those agencies. What happens with Congress is we appropriate money for the specific agencies. Here's the only thing that DOGE has done, which is it's so bizarre to me how obsessed you
Yeah, they're actually following judges' orders. It's nice.
are with federal government. But here's you are with federal government. But here's
they did not like being talked down to. I would not be surprised if the next town hall here did genuinely include tomatoes. I was making a joke before, but genuinely that's where we're at now.
Yes, you guys are going to have a heart attack if you don't calm down. I'm sorry. What Dallas is doing is it's the closest thing to zero-based budgeting. Why would you be opposed to us looking on a line-by-line basis?
Congress has nothing to do with those. Nothing. None of our government has anything to do with those. It's a private guy and his 25-year-old boss.
And nobody looked line by line at anything.
Why can't you tell the truth?
Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh my god, they are cooking. They are fucking cooking. I am so glad we found this full thing. I'm really sad that the audio quality is terrible, but like honestly, I'm really happy we found this, because, like, I need to see the rage. I need to see this anger, because, like, I need to see people telling these Republicans to their faces to fuck off. I need to see in real time liberals getting radicalized to better positions. I need to see people getting aroused.
People are aroused. I haven't seen people so aroused in a very, very long time.
I need to see it. I need to see the arousal.
Linda Devine has asked that we just professionally and respectfully have a dialogue. I very much appreciate that.
Can we professionally and respectfully have a dialogue after I implied you were all stupid for paying attention to the federal government?
I like that as well. So, all I can do is request that people show respect for each other so that I have the opportunity to answer questions.
Yeah, like basically they're like, you have a microphone, let people use it so people can hear the questions.
Making spaces around the world resilient to climate change. Why isn't the U.S. government helping our communities do the same?
Yo, dog, what a great question. What a great question. If the US military needs to climate-proof bases, why don't we need to climate-proof our towns? Hell yeah, brother. Now that's some arousal I can get behind.
I ask is, how much more money would you like us to waste on that?
Man, look at all these people standing up, clapping like seals because they think climate change isn't real. Absolute clowns.
Military.
Yeah, honestly, Mr. Malachite, that is the perfect response. So making your constituents, preventing your constituents from dying is a waste of money. Excellent rebuttal right there. Yeah, the survival of your towns, the survival of your communities, just a waste of money.
To protect the homeland and great things. The entire climate change hysteria.
Dog, the entire draw for Wyoming is literally the natural beauty of the state, which is gonna be impacted by climate change. What's wrong with you?
This person would like to know how I am going to help protect the rights of trans and non-binary people.
It's like, as a trans person, it's nice to see an auditorium of people mostly clapping for that. And I'm guessing that her response is going to be something like, I want to throw them under buses.
I means.
Oh my God. She doesn't know what that means? I've watched so many of these things, and what the fuck? Genuinely. Sure, her response to the question was, what? I don't know. Bye. I'm wondering if that was genuinely her deflection, or if she's just scared to say her bigoted ideas in front of this crowd. I think it might be the second one. I think I think she might be scared of saying her bigotry openly in front of an auditorium of people who are about to like go ballistic if they hear anything else, you know? Rhyme Jack in Twitch writes, "You've heard of low information voters. Now get ready for low information political figures who vote on those topics." Good night, Fenry. The booze shows she's scared, yeah?
She's being disrespectful and yelling, just like Trump did all that bullshit.
Who is the person on stage? This is Representative Hageman. She is a representative in the U.S. House from Wyoming, and she is doing town halls while Congress is adjourned or out of session. And this is one of her town halls with her constituents in a state that voted like 71% for Donald Trump. This is an incredibly hopeful sign. Like, I hope you guys realize a state that went 71% for Donald Trump doing this, that is a hopeful sign.
We're not being disrespectful.
Yo, they brought a Palestinian flag. They brought a Gaza flag. Oh wait, is that a trans rights flag? It's hard to tell with the color grading. Oh no, it's the progress flag. Okay, cool. Also, did I say the Gaza flag? Jesus Christ, the you know what I mean.
The question that I was asked was about the wind development projects that are going out west of town. My understanding is that there are two separate projects. One is on federal land and one is on private land. The order that was issued by the president would really only apply to the one that is on federal land. And I believe that the one on the private land is probably moving forward to some extent.
Okay, I have been streaming for over 7 hours, so I thought maybe I made a mistake. Also, hey, I've been streaming for over 7 hours. If you're enjoying the stream or getting anything out of this, please hit that follow button, hit that subscribe button, hit the like button on the YouTube stream, and consider dropping those subs, those donos, those memberships, those super chats. And remember, you guys make this stream possible. I could not do it without viewers like you. You guys are the ones that make this work. You are the ones that allow me to sit here and be able to do this for 7 hours. I couldn't do it without you guys. And thank you so goddamn much, because I love this job. I do not love the times we're in, but I do love doing what I do. And You guys make that possible. Patrick Lucas, thank you for the gifted membership over on YouTube. Greening up the joint. Love to see it. The cool zone is mostly bad things, but also sometimes good things. Oh, Ryder Reindeer, you missed earlier when we talked about Chuck Schumer's imaginary friends. Imaginary racist friends. Smokewalker, thank you for the $10 dono. I appreciate it. Let's go. Greening up the joint, eh? Not like that. But honestly, finding these full-on recordings of Republicans being booed for an hour with like a joint would be a 10 out of 10 segment for stream. 10 out of 10 stream segment. May your channel grow bountifully and may you do some kick-ass collabs. Thank you, Dark Sparkle. And thanks for being here. I do think the channel is going to continue to grow real good. We just cleared 11,000 subscribers today. So that's cool as hell. Whew. Time to get some gummies for next stream. Reached 11K. We reached 11K, folks. The shitty audio makes it so funny. I agree. Also, yeah, Fenry, Chuck Schumer has imaginary friends. And if you think I'm joking, there's literally a New Yorker piece from 2007 called Imaginary Friends, which is a profile of Chuck Schumer. So, yeah, we covered it on stream, and it's fucking insane. It's as insane as it sounds. Well, Veggie, welcome back to the fold. Unbelievable. Yeah, it's also where we got this incredible sound clip.
People are aroused. I haven't seen people so aroused in a very, very long time.
It's a 10 out of 10 segment. 10 out of 10 segment. I promise. It's coming out soon.
I don't know the status of that project, so it's just I don't know what kind of permitting is being done with that. But I believe the one on the federal land has been staying at least for a period of time.
That's two in a row you don't know anything about. First off, you
do this every day for a living, and you're all the time.
You know, I am enjoying like the Ace Attorney sleuthing music going on in the background. Like, I don't know what this background track is, but I'm like, I'm glad it's here. I'm glad it, you know, it kind of gives a vibe to all the shitty audio.
Thank you.
Representative, first off, thank you for taking the time and making yourself clear.
God, Gamer G, that right there it should be the title of the stream. We're gonna hack the algorithm. We're gonna call this segment "Lo-Fi Beats to Chill and Hear Republican Politicians Get Insulted To." Let's go. That's it. That's the name of the segment right there. We did it. We did it. And now, back to people being aroused.
People are aroused. I haven't seen people so aroused in a very, very long time.
Oh, God. Having too much fun.
My question concerns the First Amendment to the Constitution. I know where I'm at. Yeah, I'm getting there. My question is this: how do you claim to be upholding the Constitution if you won't stand against the actions of the current administration that bans select news agencies and press briefings, or when the current president declares protests that speak against his interests illegal? When a student from Columbia University held a green card.
Hell yeah!
Jail for illegal protest. This looks to me like 4 of the 5 freedoms that are protected by the First Amendment are being penalized rather than protected.
Dog, we got the mic now. We got the mic now. People are 10 times more aroused.
Right?
The word is peaceably. First Amendment says, restriction of property, preventing people from attending classes, attacking government groups, calling for violence, calling for the end of mobilization,
People are aroused. People are aroused. I haven't seen people so aroused in a very, very long time.
Question. I'd love to have a dialogue with you. They won't allow
it. Oh my God. The key word there is peacefully. Anyway, let me keep defending the president, who pardoned January 6th insurrectionists. Yep. Yeah, yes, girls, destroy my eardrums. What are they chanting? January 6th. January 6th. January 6th. That town hall is going to want a cigarette after all this arousal. Yeah. Yeah, you know, all the property that the Associated Press and Reuters have destroyed in the White House. They won't allow me to have a positive dialogue. They're so mean to me.
Honorable Representative Hageman, thank you very, very much for being here today and doing town halls. I am a registered Republican. I do not agree with a lot of what's going on, but what I wanted to say was thank you for the wonderful words that you said about our honorable and past Senator Al Simpson. He's amazing, and you really said beautiful.
Man, it's crazy how like there are like two people have stood up just to glaze her at a town hall where she's supposed to take questions from the audience. Like, I've worked with you and you're really great. I just wanted to thank you for all of the amazing things you've said about someone who doesn't work for us anymore. Just goddamn.
Beautiful things about it. One of the things you said was about his bipartisanship. Can you please, I am asking you, please, can you carry that forward for Wyoming?
Wait.
Can you please, it was about his bipartisanship. Can you please, I am asking you, please,
Oh, his bipartisanship. I see.
can you carry that forward for Wyoming?
Work with the Democrats.
I am happy to be bipartisan on any bill that is in the best interest of the United States of America.
This is ridiculous.
How is that relevant? It's a sideways way of asking her to her face in a way that's really difficult for her to answer or puts her in a bad light. Basically saying, we had a great Republican senator, and you even praised his willingness to work with Democrats. Won't you please carry on that legacy of working with Democrats? That was a protester in glaze coating. I was fooled, bamboozled.
Democrat, let's walk out.
Thank you, Harriet, for all you're doing. Thank you for your work on the web.
I'm sorry, is that guy saying if you're a Democrat, walk out?
This is ridiculous. Democrat, let's walk out.
Thank you, Harriet,
Oh, this is ridiculous. If you're a Democrat, walk out. Okay.
for all you're doing. Thank you for your work on the weaponization of government committee. And thank you for educating people on Article 2. I have two questions for you. The first question is,
Worthless.
how do we get Doge here in Laramie, Wyoming? We have a city manager that makes more than you do. We have a city yard that was supposed to cost $4 million and cost $30 million. Wasted, fraud, and abuse. Second, how about election integrity? Election
Can I get a quick TLDR about what the fuck is going on? Yes, this is a town hall from about 2 days ago in Laramie, Wyoming. This is Representative Hageman, or Hageman, not sure how to pronounce her last name. And she is doing town halls across Wyoming. And Wyoming is a state that went to Donald Trump by... He got 71% of the vote. Democrats are not spending money to organize people in Wyoming. This is an organic show up at a deeply red Republican area, and they are pissed as fuck. They are pissed as fuck.
Why did a city councilman able to handle and process ballots? When I turned that complaint in, the county sheriff didn't investigate the criminal.
How about if I
Homie came here with a list of grievances against individual people in the city. Oh my god.
focus on your first question, which is about Doge.
Thank you.
And the question is why you can't have Doge right here in your community. That's up to all of you.
That's up to you guys. That's not my job.
And that's all that this effort is about, is accountability with these various agencies. So, my view of government is that's work for the people. Whether it's the federal government or the state government or the local government, every one of you should be able to ask questions. And that's why I think that Doge is such a brilliant thing. Because
People are aroused. I haven't seen people so aroused in a very, very long time.
Which part of the Congress put together goals?
Within the public school system, my sister, who's recovering from brain cancer, has an IEP through the school system. I know that cuts to the Department of the Education will affect people like me and my sister. And I asked Senator Corey, what are you going to do about the youth and the future of our country?
Yeah, like honestly, very valid question. Hey, the thing you are supporting here is going to cut the services that allow my sister, my niece, to get these services she needs in school. What are you going to do to get her those services?
Do I get to answer, or are you just going to scream? I'd like to have dialogue with this one for young person. I appreciate the fact that they're here. So what my response to that is I understand exactly what you're talking about, Section 404 of the Education Act. And one of the things that I think is very, what did I say, 404? I'm at 504. My sister was a special ed teacher and
somebody, Patrick Lucas, you asked what an IDP is. It's individual development plan. It's basically if a kid gets diagnosed with like some kind of disorder or disability that may affect their ability to learn in like a neurotypical or like physically typical way, they get an individualized plan to essentially have staff in the school make accommodations for them. So basically it is a different set of rules that may apply to a student, or different set of procedures, different learning environments, etc. Yeah.
Coordinator for the junior high right here in Laramie, did an excellent job over the years. And what I'm advocating for, and what I've advocated for a long, long time, is that our educators right here in Laramie, Cheyenne, Lusk, Torrington, Worland, Jackson, they are phenomenal at educating our students. Our teachers are phenomenal. We have great administrators. I'm an example of what it was, what an education was like prior to the Federal Department of Education even existing. I have signed on to a bill that would specifically block grant money to the states so that they have the ability to manage their education system. We have a phenomenal superintendent of public instruction. We have people who care.
Literally, the Department of Education is what directs federal funding for schools. So, like, her argument here is bad, like really bad.
About education in this state, and I think that with the block grants, we will actually be able to do a better job and provide more services to our students, whether they have an IEP or not, because we will have better funding, more funding available. Because the federal department.
Also, worth noting that Donald Trump has just today tried to close the Department of Education via executive order. The problem being you can't unilaterally close a department as a president. Congress created the Department of Education, and Congress needs to vote in order to get rid of the Department of Education. So that's that. God.
Department of Education spends about $280 billion a year, and only approximately 25% of that goes to education. If we bring that money back to the state of Wyoming, the state of Wyoming will be allocating that money to be able to make sure that we can continue to educate our students.
I'll send you the facts. I'll send you the facts. I'll send you the facts.
By the way, what's crazy about this to me, the Department of Education stuff, is like, I don't know, NBC News treats it like this. What to know about Trump's executive order. How Trump's executive order will affect American education. While big questions about the agency's future remain unanswered, here's everything we know about its history and some of the plans conservatives have pushed for dismantling it. And it's like, that makes it sound like Donald Trump was able to shut down the Department of Education. And it's just like, you should include in the headline that he can't actually do that. You know, like, why are you being why are you being like this? Like, the compliance in advance is disgusting to me. Oh God. Anyway.
Thank you, Mr. to come here and answer our questions. Last time we were here at the Albany County Library, you said you were working on a comprehensive budget for the United States government. And
get her ass! Get her ass! She voted for a bill that cuts $880 billion from Medicaid. Get her ass on that. I'm actually shocked no one's brought that up sooner.
It has been 27 years. I think the last time was 1997 when the government actually passed a comprehensive budget for the year. We are like kicking the can down the road every few months. Like this is like we're at this $36 trillion in debt. Like, what is the plan? And now that President Trump has the House and the Senate, though it's a Senate, do we have not is it not owed to the representatives, to the people, to have a comprehensive budget planning where like that can?
I mean, I'm not entirely sure what this lady is talking about, because we've Congress votes on a budget. So, okay, I got excited for a second that someone was going to talk about the Medicaid cuts, but nope.
Move the country forward. So thank you for that question. Actually, last year, the House of Representatives passed 7 of 12 budget bills and sent them to the Senate. But the Democrat-controlled Senate refused to take them up. So they tried to do an omnibus spending bill in December, and we refused to do that. That's why we did the continuing resolution. And what the CR does is continuing spending at the same levels as it was a year ago. That isn't any way to govern. I agree with you. That is not what we should be doing about budgeting. That's why the February 25th vote was so important, because both the House and the Senate have now passed budgets. There will be crossover, and we will be working to reconcile those so that we have a budget package that can go forward for the 2026 year. But that's also why we're working on reconciliation. And what budget reconciliation will allow us to do is go in and, I'm hoping, change the trajectory of where we are in this country with $36 trillion in debt and rising.
Man, I really fucking wish anyone would talk about the massive amount of tax cuts they want to give the wealthy and the gigantic cuts on Medicaid. Because keep in mind, she's in the House. She's in the U.S. House of Representatives. She voted on a budget that would effectively decrease SNAP benefits by like 20%, kick millions of people in this country off of Medicaid. It is truly one of the most monstrous votes in American history, and they aren't talking about it. It's very insane. And they want to take all that money to increase the debt by giving tax cuts to the wealthiest people to ever exist. You know, like that's where they're at with this. And so, like, now that she's doubled down on the 36 trillion in debt, I want someone to ask, wait a minute, aren't you cutting Medicaid in order to give tax cuts to the wealthy? It's literally in the budget you voted for.
I first started spending paying a lot of attention on our debt in 2010. In 2010, our debt was $10 trillion. Within 15 years, it is now pushing $40 trillion, meaning it has gone up $25 trillion in 15 years as compared to $10 trillion in the previous 225. So clearly we need to be doing something different with our budgeting, which is what we're doing right now with the budget we passed and with what we'll be doing with budget reconciliation.
They're really dedicated to the American people to make sure that the money is going to the right places. Now, how are we going to keep that in place? It's only going to be an executive order for right now. How are we going to do it permanently?
The question is, how are we going to make those permanent, which is a really good idea.
Oh my God, this lady is so excited to have her retirement benefits destroyed. It's crazy, dog. It's crazy, dog. I also just want to say here, like, genuinely, I feel like making Doge a permanent entity would break America. Just full on.
What I'm hoping is that about every 6 months we can get a report from DOGE that identifies the various agencies, agency by agency and program by program. Again, this being a zero-based budgeting program, that we can identify those programs that can be presented to Congress. We can then pass legislation specifying which of those programs and which of that money will be cut from the budget. So I know that we're going to be working closely with the White House and with this so that we can actually cut the spending the way that we need to. Thank you.
I work for the U.S. Department of Agriculture, helping Wyoming family farmers deal with drought. Hirings, and despite only having the highest marks in my performance review. In a state where so many farmers rely on government programs for drought and disaster relief, Trump's plans to cut these programs and the people who administer them, coupled with the tariffs, will decimate Wyoming farms and rural communities. What are you doing about it?
Yeah, I mean, like, some of these are the most basic ass questions, but like, some of these Trump supporters haven't really thought about it. Hey, what happens when we fire all the people that make our farms grow food? What happens when we do that? Hey, chat. Can any of you think of what might happen? Like, potentially some kind of historical event that might happen again were we to lose, like, environmental scientists, different agriculture specialists that currently work for the U.S. government. A famine. Yeah, in fact, I believe there was an event that happened in the 1930s, 1920s. My rear end, exactly. We get a Dust Bowl, baby. We get ourselves those good old Dusty Twisters. Hell yeah, let's blight the land. That worked out so well. Nothing makes a country as prosperous as destruction of the environment conducive to agriculture.
I'm well aware of what kind of programs are out there. I'm also well aware of the amount of beef and cattle that we are importing from other countries. Just visiting with someone last night who's a sheep pusher down by bags, and how they're being decimated by the New Zealand lamb that is coming into our country. So when you talk about these things, first of all, you're talking in generalities, and I haven't seen it, and I don't think that we will see it.
No, by the time this Trump administration is done, Republican politicians are going to be like tarred and feathered. You know, like Republican politicians are going to be like run out of town, covered in feathers and tar. Like that's where we're headed here, folks. People are fucking angry. They're fucking aroused.
Farmers are going to be able to actually thrive in an environment where they are not so overregulated by the federal government.
Yeah, you know, it's really what we really need to do is get rid of all those regulations on agriculture. It's not like anything like spraying unregulated pesticides ever led to anything bad happening. It's not like unregulated agriculture has ever done anything bad, right?
My question is,
No, guys, it's perfectly safe to inhale Roundup, okay? Like, Roundup gets sprayed, you know, guys, okay, you've all heard Roundup get a bad rap for causing cancer and, like, destroying your ability to live by killing you. Like, you've all heard the rumors about Roundup. But, you know, like, why stop at spraying it on farms? Why not just spray it on cities? Let's get rid of all of the weeds. All of them. Like, we've been stopping with some of the weeds being gone, am I right? And some of the bugs being gone. But why not just get rid of all of the bugs and all of the weeds? Right? Why would we stop? Just put them on everything. It's like peanut butter and chocolate.
regards to the separation of powers among our three branches
Now with more Roundup.
of government. Our Constitution gives Congress the power to decide how federal funding is spent. Congress is also given the power to implement tariffs. However, Trump declared a national emergency of fentanyl coming from Canada to circumvent Congress and implement tariffs. Likewise, Trump and Doge are dismantling agencies and funding without congressional approval. Our judicial branch is another check on power. Yet just yesterday, the Trump administration defied a federal court order and is now calling for the judge to be impeached. Are you comfortable with giving so much of your congressional power to the president, including any future presidents? And will you be voting to impeach judges as Trump demands?
What a great question. Excellent question, young man. Let's see how this weasel tries to dodge it without actually engaging with any of the substance.
And as far as that's the very purpose of the Article 1 task force, yet you had a lot of people in here screaming and going about that. I think that the legislative branch ought to be taking its power away from the executive branch. What I find so interesting now in this discussion, though, is over the years, I have been pointing out that the executive branch has become all powerful and that we have given way too much power to executive agencies and the unelected bureaucrats. Yet now we have a situation where you have a president who is coming in, attempting to shrink the size and scope of the executive branch, and you have judges that apparently in the
kind of sounds like she's really in favor of the courts not being able to stop the executive branch from doing anything. It's really interesting for her point, isn't it?
Here, you do not believe that the president even has the authority to do that. So for those of you who are constitutional scholars in here and actually understand the separation of powers, the fact is that that's what I'm trying to do with under my Article 1 task. But I'd also say this: which branch is in charge of foreign policy? Isn't that the executive branch? In terms of, yes, it is. Yes, it is. So you don't get to pick and choose which part you're going to say that you like that the executive branch gets to do this for the legislative.
Wait, I mean, you've been doing that though. You like Doge, you don't like the Department of Education. You've been doing that. You've done that throughout this entire thing.
Branch gets to do this, or the judicial branch gets to do this. All three of us.
Yeah, all those evil unelected bureaucrats, like the people working at the VA. Because fuck veterans, am I right? We here at the Republican Party hate veterans and want them to have worse care.
Supposed to stay in our lanes. What has happened is that the executive branch, apparently with the support of some of the people in this room, has so expanded its authority beyond what it was ever intended to be by our founders that it's now time that we rein it in. That's what President Trump is doing.
The State Department does not recognize my U.S. citizenship, which my parents came to the U.S. inspired by George Bush for a freer life from the communist country of Russia. I fear that the oversight that Doge has over every federal agency leaves cracks in where U.S. citizens are hurt in the process of getting.
It's not a matter of oversight. It's zero-based. Each of these agencies and looking at your money is being spent. I just can't figure out why that would be something that you would be opposed to.
I just can't figure out why you'd be opposed to an administration that thinks you shouldn't be a citizen because you were born to immigrants. I just can't figure it out.
There are questions. We've had other people who have questions. How's your second question?
Unelected. What's the problem?
Sorry. Congressman, the question I want to ask is about the Pilot Butte Act, and mainly is because you're not working with the sovereign tribes like you should be. I don't know.
Hey, let's get some indigenous rights up in here.
I've worked very closely with the sovereign tribes. I have a very good.
Bullshit. Uh-oh. Are you guys, can you guys still see? Post in chat. Do I just need to reload? Okay, still live. That's good. That's a good sign. We're at 4619.
Butte Act, and mainly is because you're not working with the sovereign tribes like you should be.
I have a very good relationship with both the Eastern Shoshone and the Northern Arapaho, and I've been working with them for the last 2 years. The Pilot Butte project is a power plant that was going to be scrapped. It is not on the reservation. I respectfully disagree with you. It is not. Of course it is. So I disagree with you.
You know, it's interesting that she says that because there's literally an article about it that I found after Googling just a couple keywords here. Without our consent, tribal members on the Wind River Reservation protest power plant transfer. About 60 protesters spoke, chanted, and prayed outside red brick offices in downtown Riverton on December 5th. They held banners saying things like "Defend the Sacred" and "Keep Shoshone lands in Shoshone hands." Shoshone hands. Let's see. Their protest was over the defunct Pilot Butte Power Plant, which sits within the boundaries of the Wind River Reservation, but is currently owned by the U.S. Bureau of Reclamation. In 2023, Barrasso and U.S. Representative Harriet Hageman introduced mirror bills that would transfer control of the plant to Midvale Irrigation District, a local non-tribal irrigation entity, so that it can be used to generate electricity in Fremont County. Statewide energy costs have been ballooned in recent years. Residents of both the Eastern Shoshone and Northern Arapaho tribes say they were never consulted about the transfer and that they oppose it. So, she's a liar, which I know isn't new, but like, damn, lady, you gonna stand there and be like, actually, I think it's our land, where there's no possible way you could interpret it that way. You know, I'm gonna go out on a limb here and say that maybe the tribal, the tribal, groups here, maybe they know what their land is. Maybe they are the ones who know that a bit better than you. Just going at it from that perspective here. For a wide variety of reasons, I think they might know, the tribes might know their lands better than you do.
Never should have happened.
Thank you. So earlier you were saying that you support the U.S. Postal Service, but according to the public record of what you have actually voted on in Congress, you've consistently voted against protection for our Postal Service, H.R. 1473, as well as 1416, 1310, and 1249. So you're
Oh, a mic got shut off?
So the Postal Act is a bill that I introduced. It prohibits the U.S. Postal Service from closing, consolidating, or downgrading a processing and distribution center if such action would leave a state without one. The Inform Act, which I also am a sponsor of, enhances transparency by requiring the U.S. Postal Service to post.
Always love seeing someone quote Michael Brooks in my chat. Be kind to individuals, be ruthless to systems. Indeed. And in these times, we're being called to be ruthless as fuck towards the systems that oppress us.
Physical notices in affected post offices when requesting an advisory opinion from the Postal Regulatory Commission, ensuring the public is informed about proposed changes, impacts, timelines, and opportunities for input. The Postal Processing Protection Act, of which I'm also a sponsor, requires the U.S. Postal Service to follow the same rigorous standard and procedures for closing or consolidating, sorting, distribution, or processing facilities as it does for storefront post offices under existing.
You know, it's so funny when someone asks her about trans rights, she's like, I don't know what you're talking about. When you ask her about the postal bill that she put forward, suddenly she's full of information and curiosity. It's so interesting, isn't it?
Law. I also have sent several letters to the U.S. Postal Service asking. I've also sent several letters to the U.S. Postal Service requesting that they not downgrade the service to the state of Wyoming. And I have also met with, and my staff has been meeting with the staff of the U.S. Postal Service to make sure that we can protect the service here in Wyoming. Thank you.
Representative, I have a question just to follow up on the one the young woman asked earlier about agriculture in this state. I work for a private company in agronomy and seed sales, and I do work with producers on the eastern edge of this state that are wheat growers that are concerned about the retaliatory tariffs from China, because that is reducing demand and that is bringing price down. What are you going to do to help bring certainty back to those producers and back to the general public?
And I think that this current situation is we don't quite know how that is all going to play out. But what I do believe is in the long run, the United States is going to be in a much stronger position on all of the issues that we are addressing in terms of these tariffs. Again, associated with fentanyl, the invasion on our northern and southern borders. These are things. I believe that all of our farmers and ranchers in the long run are going to be better off without having the competition, the unfair competition that we have had from other countries up to this point.
Yeah, you know, we should just block all things coming into the country. You know, we'll all do so much better. We'll all do so much better if we just block all the products coming in.
There are tariffs already imposed against the United States and our products. It is absolutely reasonable for us to try to level the playing field.
I just want to thank you for. My name is Rebecca, and I am from Teton County. I just wanted to thank you for exposing what was going on in Teton County with ICE. I have a daughter that's a freshman in high school, and they have gang fights every day. We have drugs fights.
They have gang fights every day, and I send my daughter into that school every day. You send your daughter into a school where there are gangs like fighting each other every day? What? No, you don't. Shut the fuck up. Like, honestly, shut the fuck up. No, you don't. Yeah, all of the intense gang violence in Wyoming. Yeah, all right.
And I know that President Trump has.
like, did your daughter go to school and they showed her West Side Story, and then she came home and you're like, there are too many gangs in that school?
Toughened up immigration. What can we do about these judges that are overreaching representation and trying to explain what can we do?
They all started snapping and singing in rhythm. I didn't know what to do.
The judicial system right now, this is just going to have to play out. That's all I can say. They're going to have to appeal the decisions, and then I believe that the higher courts absolutely will reverse the lower court decisions. So much of what we're seeing,
it got really real when they started pirouetting with their switchblades.
Is just simply, I think, political decisions that are being issued. And I appreciate your sentiment in that regard. I believe that it is very...
Oh, Konami, the Alpha... the Midwest still has sundown towns.
important that our states and our local governments work with and cooperate with ICE and other federal agencies.
Oh my god. I liked that energy a lot. I liked that energy a lot. I want to see so much more of it across the country, but that was pretty great. I wish the audio had been equally up to the task of being great. But there you have it. Pitchforks are, the pitchforks are coming at the next protest. Absolutely.